Hi, Julian here with my co-designer Angie running the camera, and we're here to tell you about how to play Riftwalker, our new exciting game with strategy card game based on the world of Storm Hollow, where you get to play a Riftwalker hero type, exploring rifts and using the elements to activate powers in a really fun strategy. To start the game, set up, you lay out, there's a deck of element cards, 15 element cards, you lay them out in a grid of 3x3 for 9 element cards, and the rest of them are set aside to form a deck. Every element card has a face-up element showing you what element is currently available on the grid, and the corners show you what element is on the backside that will be appearing as available when you use that card. Then there is another deck of rift cards. These will be the cards you'll be trying to play throughout the game and use for powers. You always have 3 rift cards in your hand, and you'll see that they're sideways format cards, so you just tend to hold them kind of like that. It's nice and easy. And every turn of the game has 3 steps: an element step, a rift step, and a burst step. Works pretty simply. So once the game's set up, it's my turn. First, I take my element step. I pick an element out on the grid that I want to use for my turn to gather the power of that element. I can use anything that's up on the grid, or I can use the top card of the element deck. In this case, for my first turn, I will pick this water one. So to activate it, I flip it, which means I turn it over, and now I've got water I can use. It means I can explore a water rift, or I could shift a water rift. But since I have nothing out, my only choice is to explore. I explore this one. Falling Island. When you explore or shift a rift, it activates its power. So in this case, it says, put the top card of the rift deck into your explored rifts area. So immediately from the top of the deck, another rift comes out as available. And when you play a rift, it goes this orientation, you'll see at the top there that it just shows its element symbol. It's not worth any points yet. Having played that, concludes my rift step of my turn, and the only thing left is my burst step. I look out on the grid and I see if there are any instances of 3 elements in a row, just like tic-tac-toe. That way, vertical, or on the diagonal. And if I have 3 in a row and a rift that is worth points, I could burst it to score, but I don't. So that's the end of my turn. At the end of my turn, I can discard as many cards as I want to the bottom of the deck, which I don't want to discard any, I'll keep my hand, and then I draw back up to 3. Now, obviously, if we had more people playing, that other people would take turns and the board would shift, but I'm just going to go through a couple of turns right in a row here. So for my next turn, once again, start at the element step. I pick an element to activate, or I can choose from the top of the pile here. And as here, you can see that it's wind, but it has life on the back, and when I pick this one up to place it, I can place it with either side. So in this case, I'm going to choose to place it as life, and I can choose to place it anywhere on the board. I'm going to pick right here, and when I do that, it replaces that card, and this one gets discarded to the bottom of the element deck. So now I've got life as my element to use. I could explore a life card from my hand, or what I'm going to do is instead choose to shift the life card I already have out. Shifting it means you turn it clockwise, and notice it becomes worth points now. Now it's worth 3 points, and because I shifted it, it activates its power. In this case, its power is, I may shift one of my unshifted rifts. Well, this other one that I played last turn is not shifted, so it gets to shift along too, and it is now also worth 3 points. That concludes my rift step. Now we're back to the burst step, and once again, I don't have a line of any elements, so I'm done. I can discard cards, but I'm still not going to do that, so I don't have anything to draw. I'm good on that refresh step, and the turn is over. Now for my next turn, once again, we're at the element step. I'm going to choose to use this storm element. So I flip it, and that means I could shift or explore a storm rift. I have no storm rifts out, so I can only explore. And I will explore this one, Weird Magic. Its power activates, and it says you may swap any element on the grid. Swap means that I can take any element out here and switch it with another one. In this case, I'll take this life and this fire, and they will swap places. And now we move on to the burst step. Aha, and you can see, now I have a line of life. And, as it turns out, I have a life rift that is now worth points. So I could choose to, if I wanted to, burst that rift. And that means I would lift it up, set it aside to my score pile. It is now out of my Explored Rifts area. I will not be doing anything else with it for the rest of the game, and it will be worth 3 points at the end of the game. Or I could choose to not burst it and hope that on a later turn I could shift it again, making it worth 7 points now, and then burst it, in which case when it goes to the score pile it will be giving me 7 points at the end of the game. You'll also notice that on this particular one, it has a line here and a little text here. It's probably hard to read from that distance, but it is providing me with bonus points of some sort. So in this case it says, when this shift is scored at the end of the game, it is worth points for every 3-point rift in your pile. So it might be a good choice to burst it at 3 because it's giving itself plus 2 points then, so it would actually be worth 5 points. But you'll notice if I wait till it gets to 7, that's still worth more than the 5 points it would be worth. And now its bonus has increased to 4 points for every 3-point rift. So it will add to the score of other rifts I have scored that are worth 3 points. So it goes over there. Let's say for this purpose I burst it. It goes over there. It's scored. Now as the game continues, it will keep going until one player has burst a certain number of rifts. Depending on how many players are playing the game, that will be 5, 6, or 7 rifts. Once that happens, every other player gets one last turn, one last attempt to try and burst something, score, whatever they can do. And then at the end of those turns, the game is over. All players add up the point values of all the rifts in their score pile and any bonus points they might have, and whoever has the most points wins. So you can see that the basics of the gameplay, picking an element to activate, choosing to play a card, or shifting it and just activating its power, are pretty simple. But a lot of strategy comes in to the different interactions you can get with powers and the different ways they can affect the board, and that sort of emerges as you build out your set of rifts. You'll get a sort of a set of powers and combinations that will emerge throughout the game. And that can lead to a lot of interesting strategy choices. And we will be talking about some of those strategies in another video. Thanks for now for checking in, and thank you so much for supporting Riftwalker during this Kickstarter.